Hi guys, so Trevor Philips from Sky News spoke to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, ahead of his budget, where he asked the Tory about tax cuts. So there is the belief that in order to save a few Tory seats, the Prime Minister and his Chancellor will issue a tax cut in the hope that it will convince the public that the Conservatives are on their side. A tax cut would be a terrible idea when public services like the NHS, education and welfare are on their knees. This is not the way to deal with the cost of living crisis or to grow the economy. Has Jeremy Hunt not learned from Kwasi Kwarteng?
A little earlier, I spoke to the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt. Good morning, Chancellor. I know you won't give me an indication of what is actually in the budget, and nor should you, but let's just start with what is technically possible. Given that the economy is in recession, do you actually have any room for tax cuts?
Well, it's going to be a prudent and responsible budget for long-term growth. And when it comes to tax cuts, I do believe that if you look around the world, countries with lower tax tend to grow faster, North America, Asia. And so I do think in the long run, we need to move back to being a lower taxed, more lightly regulated economy. But it would be deeply unconservative to cut taxes in a way that increased borrowing, wasn't fully funded. I think, if I think of the great tax-cutting budgets of the past, Nigel Lawson's budget in 1988, the reason that was so significant is because those tax cuts were permanent and people need to know that these are tax cuts you can really afford. So it will be responsible and everything I do will be affordable.
Okay, so he's trying to contrast himself with Kwasi Kwarteng here by saying, look, this will be affordable, it will be costed, don't worry. Now, I think what he's trying to do is two things. First of all, this is about shoring up support with Conservative voters. Look, what I'm going to do is issue a tax cut. That means you'll have more money in your pocket. And this, they believe, may help them hold on to a few seats. They're not going to win the general election with this. Once again, the Tories have been throwing everything against the wall, hoping something will stick, be it immigration, be it the culture war, be it the economy. And they've run out of ideas, and perhaps this is the last throw of the dice. Look, let's cut taxes and hope for the best. Now, as I said, there are two problems here. One is that I believe this is just to shore up support, but when he mentioned that these will be permanent, I think what he's trying to also do is undermine the next government. So the Tories are saying, okay, what we're going to do, we're the government of cutting taxes, and then what we're going to do is we're going to force the Labour Party, when they come into power, to raise taxes. So they're going to have to undo a lot of these tax cuts, and this is going to be unpopular politically. But in order to fund public services, you need to raise taxes or you need to borrow. There aren't any other real ways out of this. So is Jeremy Hunt undermining the public services, cutting taxes in order to shore up support for his MPs, or is he doing it to undermine the next government? It could be both, because this is going to be really damaging. Think about it politically. So the Conservatives cut taxes, the Conservative voters are really happy with this, then the Conservatives lose power, obviously, and then Labour come in, and then Labour, what do they do first? Well, they have to raise taxes in order to fund public services. And then the Conservatives from the sidelines will be saying, see, this is the government of raising taxes. We're the party of lowering taxes, so you need to vote for us in by-elections and in the general election. We're the only party who actually cut taxes. And people will be convinced that cutting taxes is the way to grow the economy. Cutting taxes is the way to fund public services. Remember, growing the economy when you have the handbrake on of Brexit is going to be extremely difficult. How are you supposed to attract investment? How are you supposed to attract workers to businesses if you're putting barriers to trade in place and barriers to employment? These barriers have to be taken down in order to grow the economy. Cutting taxes is not going to work. Jeremy Hunt knows this, so this has to be a political move. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.